Office of the Medical Examiner, Beatsville. Dr. Jack Hanman is speaking. How can I help you?
Good evening, this is Kate Brooks. I'm not sure if you remember me. A few weeks ago, we talked about an article I'm working on. It's about your wife. I dropped by last Friday to speak to you, but you weren't working at the time. I asked the security guard to pass on a note for me. I would like us to discuss the topic of...
I thought I had made it painfully obvious for the last time. No! Please don't call me again and stop inquiring about my wife. Damn journalists. They don't let me work. God damn it. I'm not in the best frame of mind to record a lecture for my students now. I'm feeling completely broken. Where did I leave my meds this time? They definitely pay me too little for this. It won't be needed for the next few months. Wednesday. It's not my favorite day, although it's certainly better than Monday. Awful. It would be good to finally repair the coffee machine. Pathology. How to combine the hands of a surgeon, the passion for a good mystery, and an exceptionally strong stomach. This place is starting to look like a hoarder's dream, rather than a storage room. Let's hope I'm not caught short this evening. Okay, time to pull myself together. And get back to work. I need to set up the camera first. Now remember, Jack, don't forget to hit the record button this time. Hopefully the new tripod is going to hold up. Autopsy, step by step. For those of you who have already performed your first autopsy, this will refresh your basic I wasn't sure it would amount to anything, but the World Wide Web has been a blessing for speeding up my work. Let's start. Always wear an apron, mask, and gloves. Goggles are a must when the job is splashy, and in case of sharp accidents, it's worth having disinfectants at hand. It's true that you won't get ptomaine poisoning straight away, but if your liver or kidney aren't doing well, you may end up with diarrhea. The cadaver is placed on its back on the autopsy table. The pathologist stands on the right of the deceased. Make sure that all the necessary tools are always at hand so that you don't have to run around looking for something, like I do all the time. In the process of revealing and securing forensic evidence, it is difficult not to interfere with the original condition of the deceased. Written and photographic documentation plays a vital role throughout the entire examination process. During your research, be patient, inquisitive, but above all, attentive to detail. Many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes they can be cover for more interesting stories. And lastly, remember that nothing teaches you self-narration like working with the dead. So get used to that fact soon. Everyone will think you're talking to yourself. Now, onto the police folder. That will contain all sorts of pertinent information as to who the deceased might be, at my old but trusted centrifuge. Ideal for all the fluid tests I need to perform during an autopsy. It's been a while since the eyewash in this thing was changed. It's probably a health hazard now. Some of my previous cases, a reminder of more prosperous times. Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other. The deceased's name is Tobias Chambers, locally known as Old Toby. Homeless and unemployed for at least a couple of years. The body was noticed by a station employee during the morning shift. Initially, he thought that someone had thrown some boots and a coat in a nearby ditch. It took him a moment to recognize the pile of clothes as the body of a man. The deceased was found on the outskirts of a parking lot at a gas station, where he often begged and persistently offered drivers to wash their car windows. Signs of libation were found around the body. Empty bottles, traces of an inept attempt to start a fire, and a scattered makeshift blanket. He worked most of his life at the local port dealing with unloaded cargo. He was fired for being drunk and starting fights. His son runs a hardware store on his own. His wife left him years ago. They both had no contact with the deceased. That's it. It's worth remembering the context around the scene of a death. This allows you to better interpret any traces found on the body. I shouldn't start the procedure without gloves. Now it's our turn to take some pictures for our files. If I can just remember where I left the camera. It's in here. Aha! There you are. I knew it was here somewhere. You can tell by the characteristic skin color. Deceased man's head. The appearance indicates the intravital nature of the wound. Add alcohol, which I can clearly smell, and this was an accident just waiting to happen. Only a painful mix of frostbite, abrasions, and blisters. Old Toby had been wearing shoes too small for him for a very long time. That's if he wore any at all.